Hi, I'm Jenny with the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I'm here today with Lynn Hagmeyer. And take a look at this darling quilt that's behind us. This is a little table topper, and it's just so cute. I love how she thinks. You know, she makes things that make it look like you work really hard, but they're really quick and easy, which is what we like. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what do we need to make this little table runner behind us?
You have a couple of options for backgrounds. On that one I use 4 different prints, but you could use 3 different prints. You could use all the same tan if you wanted to, but you can alternate different tans in the backgrounds, because really we're just picking a theme with your mini charm pack and then picking some tonals and small prints to go behind them to accent.
So these are the mini charm packs right here that she's talking about.
Moda Candies is what they call them.
They call them Moda Candies, and they're just darling. And a lot of people buy these and they don't really know what to do with them. So this is a great project for that. You're gonna they're 2.5-inch squares, and so they're just really a cute project. So basically, what we're going to do is we are going to cut 5 strips of fabric the width of the fabric.
Right.
Is that correct? Selvage to selvage. So we've got a 5-inch strip cut right here, and you're going to cut 5 of these.
5 inch strips.
And I love actually how you've alternated your backgrounds. I think that looks really cool. So we have 4 of them that are sewn together right here, and the fabric we've used makes it really easy for you to see where we're going with on this. And I'm going to take my last 5-inch strip, and I'm just going to put them right sides together, and so 1/4 inch all the way down, and then we're just going to press that open. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and do that. Whoops, here we go. Almost lost a knee on that one.
One of the things that I like to do with pre-cuts is find the simplest thing for each shape or size. And these mini charms just scream to me, leave me as I am, don't chop me up. Just lay me out in rows so I can show how pretty I am. And it just works out great.
So they like actually speak to you then?
They do.
That's awesome.
I'm usually asleep when it happens, so I can't prove it.
Isn't that amazing how much information you get when you're asleep?
I know. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Oh my gosh. I used to wake Ron up and ask him about stuff, and finally he got me a journal and he said, write it down, I'll talk to you in the morning. And I think that saved our marriage.
No doubt. No doubt.
He gets a full night's sleep now. I never do.
There's so many things once your brain relaxes.
I think that's
and
true.
Starts to wander, that it is inspirational to start thinking about.
All right, I'm almost done.
That's the hardest part, is sewing 5 strips together. So really, how difficult could it be? I like to sew my strips together in opposite directions.
Yeah, it keeps it from bowing.
It does. That way you don't have
iron that one over?
Curved runner.
Yes, I agree. So if I were sewing all these together, I would sew these 2 this way, and then I'd come back and sew it this way, and that would keep it from bowing. You know, because sometimes when you sew strips all the same direction, and I don't know why this happens, but it does, you get this little curve like that, and we don't want that with this runner.
If on a long strip like this, if you have a walking foot or an even feed foot on your machine, that actually helps keep it from doing that and kekeeps it more even.
I get a lot of questions about using my walking foot, and I always tell them that I would use it if I could remember where I put it. I don't always remember where I put that walking foot.
Mine's built in, thank goodness.
There you go. All right,
okay.
So let me move this over here. So we've got our 5 strips sewn together.
Yep, we're gonna go Christmas. Little bit of Christmas, kind of Christmas and Christmas.
And then you've got this whole big stack of...
I'll give you some.
Okay.
We would want to trim the ends off. This ends
All right,
up,
let's do that then.
We have 45 inches here, but we're going to want to trim it to about 42.5. So depending on how even your ends are, just even at both ends and you're good.
So when I want to trim something in half, I like to fold it in half to
line up your sides.
Line up my stuff so I don't have...
a ruler.
Oh, here we go. Thank you. Here comes my ruler. There we go. So when I go to cut this, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to fold it in half so that I have less chance of error, and then I can just go along here and cut that off so it's all even. And then I'll just do the same thing to the other side. Make sure I'm laying nice and straight. I like to line it up on the mat, which just helps me keep it straight again. Then I bring my ruler over to where there are no dots. The little dots I'm talking about are the ones right along the selvage. And they use those to hold the material onto the bolts when they're printing it. So now we have a nice trimmed piece of fabric. And what are we going to do now?
Because our rows are alternating, are staggered, so that we get this zigzag effect in between, half of the rows are going to start with half a mini, and half of them are going to start with the mini charm 1/4 of an inch from the edge. So starting from one end, we're going to start, and you can use your 1/4 inch ruler or just eyeball it, because that's really honestly close enough.
Well, and you have these points to help you too.
Yes.
You make sure those are lined up.
But we're going to put even these points on the halves 1/4 of an inch.
Okay, perfect.
And you can use either pins or your lapel glue, whichever you prefer to use.
If I were to like glue a whole strip, would it stay on to sew?
I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I usually do a few at a time.
Yeah. This really is best to do one row at a time. I'm going to show you how to do a few.
Here's another question then, and maybe you have this all worked out, but if I were to sit at the sewing machine, could I just add one of these on next and like stitch down the middle, or is that not what you want to do?
This has to be a certain length. And it tells you in the book what the length is.
Okay.
So that when these are on the diagonal point to point, it comes out even.
Oh, okay.
So I know that we just folded it and cut it, but there really is a length that it needs to be.
Okay.
So
I see.
Once you have the length you need, then you could just lay out your row end to end. And, again, I would find the center point, fold it, put a mini charm on each end, one in the middle, and then kind of fill in between. And you scooch them together or scooch them apart as needed to make it fit. But there is an actual math thing.
So basically, when you put these on, you're going to sew 1/8 of an inch all around the outside edge.
And if you have your entire row on, you can start on one side and zigzag down on one side, so you don't have to turn.
Yeah.
And then come back and zigzag back on this and just sew straight across when you go to the next one.
Very good.
The other option, if you really want to, you could just use a very long basting stitch and go down the middle to make sure they're all sitting there straight. I don't usually bother with that step, but if you're not comfortable with the layered patchwork, it would eliminate pins. You wouldn't have to pin, and you can hold it down and just baste through the middle, and that would really secure them.
So actually, if you just pinned these or basted these, you could just, sew up and down all along one side, back down the other, and you could just do like a row at a time?
Exactly.
Awesome.
You just need to make sure that every other row starts either 1/4 of an inch from the edge or a half block in the next row to get the zigzag. But there is no reason you can't do one row at a time, and 4 rows. It's about a 2-hour project.
I love that, and I can hardly wait to do this. I'm thinking this would be so cute in Halloween fabric. I mean, it just make a really fast, quick
You could make one
runner
for every season because it's so simple.
Yeah, it's so simple. So what we're going to do on these is we're going to stitch right around the outside edge, 1/8 of an inch, and let's go ahead and do that. I actually have a lapel stick here, so I can actually glue these on, and I'm just going to do a couple because I know they'll stick. But I want to show you how this is done, because this is just genius. I love the layering patchwork on top. I like that idea a lot. Because they're all pinked, they're not going to fray.
The edges will curl up a little bit if you stitch 1/8 of an inch from the inside of the pinked edge.
Which just gives it a more homey look.
It does. I love the primitive look, and it just adds some texture, and you can wash it over and over, especially with something I'm going to put on the table. I want it to be fast and easy because it could get ruined.
Sure.
I mean,
we have grandchildren.
We have husbands.
We are sloppy.
Exactly.
We are not perfect.
And just FYI, never put polyester batting in a table runner that you plan to sit a hot dish on.
Oh yeah, it'll just melt.
It did,
It just
totally.
melts, yeah.
Yep,
We
made
like
for
our
an
cotton
interesting
batting for this.
Christmas, yes.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch just along this edge right here.
Continuously
And
from
come
one to the
back
next.
and come around the other side. Now you would do the whole long thing.
Right.
Well, I guess as far as you wanted to go.
Well, yeah, whatever you're comfortable with, actually.
All right, so let me do that. And I'm just using the edge of my foot as a guide here. I'm getting to here, I'm gonna pivot. This is so cool.
A little bit wider stitch is always better than too narrow, so that you don't accidentally run off the edge. But it's easy to fix. If it does pull up, you just go back and stitch right over it.
Right, it's just like one little stitch.
Correct.
That's awesome.
If you have a 1/4 inch foot, most of them have a little notch halfway, so you actually do have an 1/8 inch marking
Yes.
on your foot, or you can move your needle over if you have your ZigZag plate on and find your perfect 1/8 inch that way. All of our seams, however, we're done with a normal 1/4 inch foot. Seam
Versus abnormal foot.
allowance. Well, no, 1/4 inch seam allowance.
1/4 inch, okay. Yeah, we sew the rows together with the 1/4 inch and then finish our stuff up. All right, I'm down here at the bottom. This is a big moment. We're gonna whip this whole thing around.
Isn't it a whole lot easier than having to go around each square?
That's genius in and of itself, just having to go halves. Because I would have probably gone around each square, cut the thread, gone onto the next square, and this is so much smarter.
It's all about finding the easiest, simplest way to make
Well,
life.
You know, sometimes you want to spend a lot of time doing something, and sometimes you just need a pretty table fast, you know.
And
or
it really
something
does
quick.
make an adorable gift for whatever occasion.
I think it would make an awesome quilt, honestly, if you did a whole big thing. Whoops, I forgot to put my needle down.
You do that and send it to me. That'd be great.
Okay. So that was just really quick and easy. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to put your squares on all of these seams. You're going to put them on diagonally, and you're just going to sew them down the top, and you're going to have done it. How long do you think this takes?
It's about a 2.5 hour project.
That is awesome. 2.5 hours, and you've got this quilt all finished. For the whole pattern, you can find it here in Layers of Love. We love this book. It's great, full of great ideas.
Thank you.
Probably what, about 20?
About 20 ideas. 10 unique projects, about 20 different ideas.
That is so cool. Well, Lynn, thank you for joining us today. We love having you.
It's been great fun.
It has been fun. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the ZigZag Runner from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.